Welcome to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. I'm your host, Molly Watts. If you want to change your drinking habits and create a peaceful relationship with alcohol, you're in the right place. This podcast explores the strategies I use to overcome a lifetime of family alcohol abuse, more than 30 years of anxiety and worry about my own drinking, and what felt like an unbreakable daily drinking habit. Becoming an alcohol minimalist means removing excess alcohol from your life so it doesn't remove you from life. It means being able to take alcohol or leave it without feeling deprived. It means to live peacefully, being able to enjoy a glass of wine without feeling guilty and without needing to finish the bottle. With science on our side, we'll shatter your past patterns and eliminate your excuses. Changing your relationship with alcohol is possible. I'm here to help you do it. Let's start now. Well, hello and welcome back to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast with me, your host, Molly Watts, coming to you from, it's an undecided Oregon right now. We have wavered in between beautiful weather. I was out at the Oregon coast over the New Year, and on New Year's Eve, it was like 60 degrees, warm, no breeze, literally sunny out at the Oregon coast. So warm that I felt, could feel it on my back and needed to take off my coat. And then the next day was raining, and it's been raining, really rainy last night here in Portland. And but this morning I'm looking outside and it's light again, and there's some sunrise on the horizon. And so it's undecided in Oregon right now. How are you? Happy New Year. It is the very first January podcast for 2026. Today, dropping here on Monday, January 5th. And I hope you are looking forward to 2026 with some optimism. I know that given the weekend's activities, you might be thinking, it's starting off a little rough. But, we are going to forge ahead and keep focusing on the future and taking what we can control into our own lives. And I guess in honor of that, I wanted to talk about something that I know a lot of people are thinking about right now, and that is a dry-uary or a dry January, or in my world, mostly dry January. And the reason that, if you may have heard that I am running a program this month called Mostly Dry January, and it really is a short-term kind of low-pressure way to start off this year with more alcohol-free days and really focusing on progress over perfection and getting rid of that all or nothing mindset that can so easily derail people's efforts. And even if you didn't join the program, which is totally fine, I want you to stick around, because in this episode, I'm going to talk about why I think doing a mostly dry January is the right step for so many of you. And that a dry January, you don't have to get it right to get real value from it. We're going to talk about why being mostly dry can still lead to major progress, how to stop relying on willpower and start using your brain's natural rewiring system, and why building a peaceful relationship with alcohol is more important than getting a perfect streak during the month of January. All right. So let's jump in and talk about doing and rethinking a mostly dry January. I hope you walk away from this episode feeling really empowered and like, I can do this and I want to do this, because dry January is just getting bigger and bigger each year. There's a big cultural moment around it. And in theory, that is, of course, great. It is a fresh start, a clean slate, and having everybody drink less or taking a long extended break from alcohol is a great thing to do. And if your goal is to be alcohol free for 31 days and that feels like you are meeting yourself where you're at and it's a stretch, but it's not too much for you right now, then I highly encourage you to do it. That's what I try to do every year. It's what I am focused on doing this year. We'll see if I make it, but that is what I'm trying to do. Now, I've been doing this for quite some time. And so for me, that's not a stretch. It is something that I should, I can do, and I want to do it. But here's what I've seen, both in my own experience and with my coaching clients. The traditional way of doing dry January sometimes sets people up with a very binary mindset, meaning that you either are doing it right by not drinking at all, or you've failed because you have drank off plan. And that really isn't how sustainable behavior change works. And it's not how we approach things as alcohol minimalists. The truth is, the benefits of a dry January aren't reserved for people who make it through 31 days without a sip. They're available to anyone who starts paying attention. And that's why in the Mostly Dry January group that I'm doing, we talk a lot about building awareness. And that includes noticing urges instead of reacting to them, tracking patterns, understanding your thoughts and your thoughts about alcohol, your thoughts about your life, and giving yourself real credit for alcohol-free days, whether that's 5 in a row or just one more than last week or last year. This month isn't about restriction, it's about exploration. So if dry January hasn't been perfect for you already, right? We're only on January 5th. Or if you've only just started thinking about it, you are definitely not too late. You are exactly where you need to be to begin. Hey, just a quick break to talk with you for a minute about Sunnyside. You hear me talk about it on the show often, and it really is my number one recommendation for a mindful drinking app. People use this tool in my groups, in my classes, and they tell me all the time how much they really appreciate the fact that Sunnyside is a very positive reinforcement. And what I mean by that is that when you track your drinks, and let's just say you planned for one drink and you ended up having two. If you're honest and you track that second drink, you're not going to get a message that shames you in any way or reprimands you. You're actually going to get positive reinforcement for tracking a drink that you didn't plan on, and some ideas and some suggestions for maybe going and grabbing a snack or getting some water. Sunnyside is like having a coach in your pocket, and I love that. You can try it for a 15-day free trial. Go to www.sunnyside.co/Molly to get started today. So let's talk about what science actually says about cutting back, even if you don't quit entirely. There's a common myth that moderation or partial success doesn't count, quote unquote, that unless you go completely alcohol free, you won't get any of the benefits. And that's simply not true. Multiple studies, including work from the University College London, have shown that people who attempt dry January, even if they don't complete it, experience long-term benefits. They drink less frequently, they feel more in control of their choices, and they report better physical and mental well-being. And even outside the January context, increasing your number of alcohol-free days per week is associated with better sleep quality, improved mood and energy, lower blood pressure, improved liver function, and a reduced risk of several chronic diseases. Now, these changes do not require perfection. They require consistency and intention. So even if you are doing a mostly dry January, even if you're reducing but not abstaining, you are already making a difference for your health. You are already doing something good. Now, if you started out this year thinking, I'm just not going to drink this month, and you're already finding that hard to stick to, maybe you're already feeling a little bit of anxiety. You've got some dates ahead. You've navigated this first weekend and it was a little rough. You felt some cravings and some desire, and you're not sure if the whole month is going to be the plan that you had for a full month feels difficult, and like you are concerned that you're not going to be able to stick to it. Listen, that's not a problem. You are just human and your brain is doing what human brains do. Your willpower alone isn't a reliable plan, right? Our brains are wired for short-term rewards. That's why that glass of wine after a stressful day can feel so compelling, even when we've made the commitment not to drink. The decision-making part of our brain, our logical prefrontal cortex, takes a back seat when habits and emotional cues are driving the bus. So instead of just removing alcohol and hoping for the best, we really need to look for and replace the rewards that we've associated alcohol with. We need to rewire the habit loop. And one of my favorite strategies is from behavioral science, and it's called temptation bundling. And it's a concept that was introduced by Dr. Katie Milkman, and it involves pairing a habit that you want to build, like skipping the drink, with something that feels good and rewarding. So here's what that could look like, right? Save your favorite Netflix show for alcohol-free nights. So if you really love to watch a show, only make it accessible to yourself when you are alcohol-free. Enjoy a special alcohol-free drink in a beautiful glass. Many people tell me about getting like a special glass for alcohol-free drinks, and it helps. Listen to a fun podcast while you are doing whatever it is that you usually would do with a drink. Like maybe when you're making dinner, save a podcast for that time zone, or save a really good audiobook that you want to listen to and make it only accessible during when you're making dinner, when you would typically drink wine. Take a bath, light a candle, and start a cozy new stress relief ritual. I love baths. Everybody knows that. If you've listened to this podcast for any length of time, it's certainly one of my go-to stress relief activities. But I really want you to focus on temptation. So I do that. I typically will do a bath right when I get home, before either right after dinner or right before dinner if I'm not cooking, so that it's kind of the break that I used to have alcohol when I got home from work. I do that instead. The goal is to create a new routine that your brain actually likes. Not something that feels like deprivation, but something that feels comforting and satisfying. That's what makes change stick. And I've actually created a worksheet this week for you to help you build your own temptation bundles. And so I will tell you about that more in a bit, but it is going to be accessible in the show notes. So let's get real here for a second. If you have already had a drink this month, even multiple drinks, maybe this weekend, you have not failed. You aren't off track and you don't need to start over, because this is not a pass-fail exam. It is a process. The real shift comes when you start to change how you think about drinking, not just how often you do it. So instead of saying, I messed up, try asking, what did I learn? Instead of saying, I can't do this, try asking, what would help me next time? That's the alcohol minimalist way. It's not about rules or restrictions. It's about building peaceful control, one small decision at a time. And that process, it starts wherever you are. Even if it's day 5 and you've already had 3 glasses of wine this week. You are not behind, you are in the work. So if you want a gentle, science-backed way to support your goals this month, why don't you grab the temptation bundling worksheet and use it to walk yourself through how to create alcohol-free rituals that feel good, not forced. It's really easy, it's quick, and it's something you can do right now, right after you listen. You will find the link right in the show notes. And if you're ready to keep going after January, or you want some more structure to support your habit, you can also check out Drink Less Success. It is a 30-day support system program. You could start right now to support the rest of the month. And it is really all about the neuroscience of habit change. It's got emails, it's got my audiobook, and it is just a really natural support system for starting right now in January and building forward momentum. So again, for this year, for this month, for the next week, let's stop aiming for perfect and let's start building something sustainable. Mostly dry January is more than enough. It is good enough, and it is a step in the right direction. That's all I have for you this week, my friends. Until next time, choose peace, and I will see you on Thursday. Thanks for listening to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. Take something you learned from this week's episode and put it into action. Changing your drinking habits and creating a peaceful relationship with alcohol is 100% possible. You can stop worrying, stop feeling guilty about overdrinking, and become someone who desires alcohol less. I work with people in 2 different ways, and you can learn about them over at my website. Go to www.mollywatts.com/workwithme or reach out to me directly. Shoot me an email, molly@mollywatts.com. We'll jump on a call and decide what might work best for you. This podcast is really just the beginning of our conversation. Let's keep it going. If there's one thing I know, it's that change is way easier when you stop trying to do it alone.